Another financial crisis. Yet again, another financial time bomb due to the upcoming energy crisis could be bigger than the one caused by the pandemic. Soaring energy bills could literally wipe out, threaten global markets. Let's dig into how this energy crisis got triggered and why it could get worse if governments do not find ways to address ever soaring energy bills that would otherwise lead more middle class families into poverty and more businesses into bankruptcy. See you there.
Pellegrin is on set with us here to tell us more about it.
Hi, Stuart. Absolutely. Pressure on Europe to adapt to these soaring energy prices really keeps increasing, especially with Russia saying it won't turn on supply of natural gas on its Nord Stream 1 pipeline until sanctions are lifted. And also because of pressure from people who are increasingly unable to make ends meet. In Leipzig, in Germany, thousands of people gathered to protest the rise in the cost of living and calling for a windfall tax on companies with excessive profits. Meanwhile, governments around the continent are presenting relief plans for households. Yinka Oyetade has the details.
They are calling time on the worsening energy crisis. Dozens of people in Italy burned their gas and electricity bills in protest of skyrocketing costs that they say they simply cannot afford.
Currently, Europe is suffering from several civil unrest triggered by increasing energy prices. But why are the energy prices rising significantly? Energy prices have actually gone up since beginning of 2021, resulting from oil price spikes driving inflation upward. Now that oil prices are stabilizing, another source of fuel is actually ramping up its prices. This time, we're talking about natural gas. Europe's natural gas prices have surged by a whopping 400% over last year. 400%! Which means higher share of a household's income will be spent on electricity, resulting in less disposable income to spend on products and services, therefore pulling down the profits of businesses, impacting the stock market. You might be wondering, how does the gas price have anything to do with the spike in electricity price? Why is there almost a direct relationship between gas price and cost of electricity? Well, although Europe is taking the lead with the transition from fossil fuels to green energy, fossil fuels still dominate the European and US power plant industry. Natural gas was the largest source, about 38% of US electricity generation in 2021. Natural gas is used in steam turbines and gas turbines to generate electricity. Coal was the second largest energy source for US electricity generation in 2021, about 22%. In Europe, natural gas share is slightly lower. Gas power plants generate approximately 22% of Europe's electricity, with nuclear power plants being most dominant at approximately 25.5%. Now that we have established a direct relationship between price of gas and cost of electricity due to the dominant use of natural gas in generating electricity, let's understand why gas price has surged and will most probably continue to surge. Before we do that, let's have an overview of the biggest exporters of natural gas. If we look at the global gas exporting countries in 2021, you can see that Russia was the world's leading exporter of gas, exporting approximately 200 billion cubic meters of gas via pipeline. The United States was the second largest natural gas exporter globally, followed by Qatar and Norway. Now let's see which countries are the biggest importers of Russian gas. The graphic below shows how much of each European country's total natural gas imports came directly from Russia in 2019. Interesting to note that Germany imports around half of its gas from Russia, while France only obtains a quarter of its supply from the country. Italy would also be among the most impacted major economies at a 46% reliance of Russian gas. Amid the geopolitical context in which the West has imposed sanctions on Russia, the latter has suddenly decided to switch off its gas supply via the Nord Stream 1 pipeline, the main pipeline via which gas is supplied to Europe. Not clear whether this shutdown is due to maintenance-related works or not, as reported by Russia. In fact, The European Union blames Moscow for using gas as a political weapon against Germany and Europe amid the war in Ukraine. Constant threats from Russia on cutting off natural gas supplies since the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the European and Asian markets are suffering heavily from unprecedented uncertainty and volatility. Most of the gas that was supplied by Russia cannot be substituted for another supplier easily, as the gas coming from Russia is supplied to Europe via pipeline. There are obviously other sources of gas, including liquefied natural gas, LNG, which is basically cold pressurized gas, but then this gas will need to be regasified once again. As of today, Europe doesn't have enough infrastructure necessary to regasify liquefied natural gas to turn it into usable gas. That is exactly the reason why Europe relies heavily on Russian natural gas. So many gases. Natural gas, gas. Sorry. Anyway, due to undersupply of gas prices are surging all-time records high, leading to higher electricity prices because gas is seen as a cleaner sub for coal. I mean, while there are other sources of energy such as nuclear and wind, gas is still completely dominant. Given the spike in gas price leading to higher cost of electricity, winter 2022 will probably be very harsh for Europeans that could run out of electricity, and could be very harsh for several vulnerable companies that could shut down, unable to pay their ramping energy costs. That is exactly why European energy ministers have called for an emergency meeting ahead of this forecasted energy crisis.
European energy ministers holding this highly anticipated meeting today. So what can they actually do concretely more than what we heard over the last 2 to 3 weeks?
They are, and remember, Francine, this meeting was called, in fact, 2 weeks ago when it seemed something in the energy market in Europe was broken. And the head of the Commission has promised intervention. She says the goal now is to bring down energy revenues for Russia to stabilize prices for Europeans. But from what I hear today, there will be some kind of political signal that this intervention will happen. But a lot of the details, the executive action, will have to wait until next week when von der Leyen herself presents her State of the Union address on Wednesday. So today, if you were hoping perhaps for big measure specifics, you will be disappointed.
Now, what does this energy crisis mean for investors? Are there any opportunities from this crisis? Several economists foresee a weakening European economy due to the shortage of natural gas. Like they say, energy sustainability is the core of a healthy economy. So if energy safety is under threat, so is the global economy. In fact, a huge impact has already been seen on the currency space. The euro has significantly shrunk against the US dollars. The stock market will most probably shrink due to the lack of disposable income within households, hindering the growth of corporates, reducing their earnings. Maybe it could be a great opportunity to buy in some index stocks, because these will most probably recover. Well, let's hope at least. Against this energy crisis, the government will try to come up with some solutions, if not within the near future, at least by midterm. In fact, European governments will want to address households' concerns and show the public that they are decreasing their gas dependency from Russia while increasing the energy mix. All this by promoting companies that are into renewables, demand-side management, and by incentivizing startups that provide services and optimizing energy consumptions for a reduced energy bill. So, in your opinion, what are the promising startups focused into energy consumption optimization that could soar during this energy crisis? Leave a comment below if you want me to study a particular stock or corporate. Into the next video, we could go through some of the most promising energy companies that could soar amidst the upcoming, or should I say, ongoing energy crisis. If you believe that this video was of any value to you, please do not forget to subscribe and click the bell so that you get notified on time whenever I post another video. Thank you. See you soon.